particular challenge to study abroad. I can imagine many of you had some significant hurdles to jump over to get here. And so good job, good job getting here. I know it was probably very, very difficult. We're all wearing masks. As you might know, the university is requiring masks regardless of vaccination status. And so please do wear your masks when you're indoors on campus. It is a university requirement right now. So I wish I could see all your smiles. I'm just going to assume that you're all smiling. Thank you for showing me your smile. Know that I'm smiling right behind this mask here the whole time. So let's find out where you guys are from. I think the group is small enough, and those of you in the chat, if you could just let us know in the chat where you're from, and then I'll have Kirby kind of read them off. But can we just go around the room and have each person stand up and tell us who you are and where you're from? Let's start over here.
My name is Marta, and we are from Spain.
Okay.
Okay, so my name is Maria, and yeah, we are from Spain.
Spain.
Oh yeah, my name is Pablo.
Pablo. Okay.
My name is Aishwarya, and I'm from Nepal.
Aishwarya from Nepal. Sauga from Nepal. Okay. Ujwal from Nepal.
I'm Eileen.
I'm from Bangladesh.
Oh, okay. Bangladesh. Nepal.
I'm Rana from Bangladesh.
Okay. From Belgium. Okay. Austria.
I'm Tommy, I'm from Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
I'm Eileen, and I'm from Belgium.
Okay. Germany.
I'm Eka, and I'm from South Africa.
Awesome.
I'm Scarlett, and I'm from Spain.
Okay. In the front.
I'm Ivana, and I'm from Colombia.
Awesome.
I'm Taylor, and I'm from Australia.
Australia.
I'm Nadia from Spain.
Okay. Oh, Jana. Hi, Jana. All right. Well, thank you. All around the world. I would imagine some of you had to, how many of you had to go outside your own home country to get a visa? Raise your hand if you had to go outside the country. Where are you from again? Nepal. You had to go where? India. Anybody else have to go somewhere else to get their visa? Oh, okay. So Nepal, some challenges there. I know you're from Nepal, right? You were able to get it in your home country?
I actually got my visa. I got my undergrad here, so.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Cool. All right. Let's see who thinks they've had the longest flights, combined flights to get here? You? How many hours?
No,
Oh, okay.
I don't know, but I know to get to America it took 13.5 hours.
13 and a half hours.
And I don't remember how long it takes to It was a few flights, yeah.
Anybody longer than 13 hours? Bangladesh?
Yeah. So my flight was originally 36 hours, but my two flights were delayed, so it took 50 hours.
Holy cow, 50 hours. Have you been here for a little while and been able to sleep and catch up a little bit? Oh, good. Wow. Anybody beat 50 hours? All right. Well, that's a long journey. Well, again, lots of hurdles to jump through to get here, and I'm sure you're relieved or maybe just exhausted to finally be here. But again, welcome, and we're so happy to have you guys here. So let me just show you what our agenda is going to be here. So I'm going to do some introductions here in just a minute. Oh yeah, Kirby, can you tell us where some of the other students are from?
Yeah, so we've got on Zoom, we've got students joining from Denmark, China, Italy, Nepal, Bangladesh, and Iran.
Wow, nice. Okay, lots of representation. Also, if you're an exchange student on a J1 visa, raise your hand. In Spain, you guys are on exchange visa, J1, right? Anybody else? Okay. The rest of you are on F1 visas, I assume. Okay. All right. And okay. So I'll do some introductions in just a minute. And then we're going to have Jana present on student success. We'll have someone here with student health to talk a little bit about student health. Jesse and I will talk about immigration rules and regulations. It's one of the things we're required to pass on to you so that you can navigate your way through your education and do so successfully with immigration rules in mind. And then Nitin is in our office. He's going to talk about academic advising. We'll have counseling and testing come and present as well. And then we'll have a little bit on our Equal Opportunity and Diversity Resource Center. So again, if you didn't get dessert or refreshment, there's some refreshment over there. Feel free to grab some. So again, welcome to ISU. You made it. This is just a picture of ISU in the summertime. The International Programs Office, this is a list of our services. So we handle admissions. So those of you who are undergraduate students would have gotten your admission letter from our office. And then graduate students, I'm sure, raise your hand if you're a graduate level, master's or doctorate. Okay, a few. And so you would have gotten your admission letter from the graduate school. We handle academic advising. We do immigration advising. So Jesse and I handle that. And then we also oversee study abroad. So American students wanting to go abroad. We are on the top floor of the museum building, the very top floor. And let me go ahead and introduce my staff. So again, I'm Sean. I'm the Associate Director. Jesse, can you raise your hand? There's Jesse Kiboko. Many of you will know him from issuing your I-20s, maybe your DS 2019s if you're a J1 student. So Jesse is our immigration advisor and handles the immigration advising. Do you want to say anything, Jesse?
No, just welcome.
Sweet.
Where are you from?
Jesse, where are you from?
I'm originally from the Congo.
From the Congo.
Welcome.
Yep. All right, and then we have Nitin Srivastava. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Nitin.
First of all, welcome everyone. I'm so glad to see all of you today. Many of you, almost all of you must have received an email from me. And I'm originally from India and I've been working here since 2015. And one thing I can tell you that ISU is an excellent campus for international students. You're going to love this state.
Okay, so Nitin, great academic advisor. If you need help, he's the one to go to. And then we have Kirby. Kirby, would you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Kirby. I oversee mostly the J1 process and then also admissions. So if you had questions about your application, I'd probably talk to you by email or in person, some of you. I am originally from Atlanta, Georgia, so this country, but other side of it. And I've been here for like 5 years.
Okay.
And it's so great to have you all here.
All right. And sometimes we have student workers with us, but they're in the office right now. So, oh, Salome. Yeah, Salome, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Salome. I am originally from Ghana in Africa and I'm a private intern at ITU.
Yep, she's been doing an internship with us. All right. Again, so your advisors here in our office is mainly Nitin and Jesse. So Nitin does the academic advising for undergraduate students. Jesse does the immigration advising for international students. Just to tell you about our office, we do our appointments by, things have changed a little bit over the last year because of COVID, but we do our appointments or our advising by appointment. So you can either walk in and schedule an appointment in our office, or you can do it online. If you go to our website, www.isu.edu, IPO about, That's where you can schedule an appointment either in person, if you want to, or Zoom, phone, email, Google Hangouts. There's lots of different options now that we're in COVID era. So we do encourage you to do it over Zoom if you can. If you really want to visit in person, that's okay too. You'll just have to make sure you bring a mask. For right now, things are changing all the time, so things may change. Again, masks are required indoors on campus. You can walk into our office to drop off documents. There are various services that we offer by way of immigration documents and other kind of documents that you need. So, of course, you can bring those in and drop them off at our office. We don't do walk-ins unless there's an advisor available. So, if the advisor is available, we'll see you right away. But generally, you need to schedule an appointment. All right. Just want to provide a few tips when working with our office. So we have some document requests that you can submit. Make sure you submit those as early as possible. We have a processing time of 3 to 5 days. So when you bring your I-20 in, for example, just for a signature, I know it's just a signature, but we often get lots of document requests. And so just expect that anything you bring in is going to take 3 to 5 days. Sometimes often it happens a lot faster, but just bring them in and assume 3 to 5 days. Make sure you check your ISU email regularly. We email you guys on a regular basis with event updates, immigration updates. When something changes with immigration, we'll send you an email through your ISU email. So not only will you want to be checking that for your professors, but also for our office. Use BangoWeb regularly. That's your portal to the university for a lot of different things. So Nitin will talk some more about that. And yeah, any questions so far? Okay. So these are a bunch of the different kinds of requests that we process in our office. So for immigration, if you need a visa renewal, an invitation letter to invite someone to come into the US, program extension, social security form, driver's license, these are all different kinds of requests. You just go to isu.edu/IPO/forms, and on there you will find the document request link, and you can submit your request there and we can process that for you. A lot of employment requests as well, as you can see there. Let me get this out of the way. Okay. Just some things that are coming up. So last day to make changes to your class schedule is going to be Friday, September 3rd. So every semester you have 10 days to add and drop classes for that semester. After those 10 days, then if you drop a class, it becomes a withdrawal, a W on your transcript. So for those first 10 days, you can add and drop classes freely. If you get 2 weeks into this semester and you realize you really don't want to be in this class, or you want to change to a different class, that is the window of opportunity to do that from now until September 3rd. We're doing some campus tours. Our office does campus tours regularly. You can just schedule that for yourself or for a group of people. If you're interested in a campus tour, talk to Kirby, she's in the back, or you can just email her at her email address there. The week of welcome, I have a brochure in the back, or a paper in the back. I think you guys got them. There's some events for the first couple of weeks listed there, but you can always go to the ISU calendar to see what other events are available. We'd encourage you guys to be involved and to go to some of the fun events as well as focusing on your academics. It's a very good thing to do. And then other events, any events that we have as an office, we will send out by email. All right, any questions so far? All right, we're going to turn the time over to Jana. She represents the Student Success Center. And so here's Jana.
So, and then to stay on the side, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Jana Graham. I'm the director of the Intensive English Institute here on campus, which is part of a larger unit of academic success programs for students. Is this just arrow key? Academic Success and Advancement Programs, which is located in the Rendezvous building on campus, offers a lot of free support programs for students who are enrolled at ISU. I know in some countries it's not common to have these sorts of services available for students. In the US it is. So I just want to explain to you what's available to you that you're entitled to. And all of the services that I'm going to be talking about are actually free. There's no additional charge for you to use them. So I want to make sure you know about them today so that you can start taking advantage of them and using them immediately. I've listed here all of the constituent programs, all of the programs that are part of academic success and advancement programs. The two that I'm going to be focusing on today for you are University Tutoring and the Intensive English Institute. So as part of University Tutoring, we do have a writing center, which is open to all students, international and domestic. There is no fee for using this center. You can make an appointment without having to pay or pay for the tutor's time. This is for any written assignments, any class, any level, and you can make individual appointments that meet in person, or now we are offering online and chat appointments as well. The main office is in the Rendezvous building. I did put a map here if you're interested in grabbing a hard copy map, and when I'm done speaking, I can also pass that around. And for those who are watching by Zoom, I'm happy to email that to you also. That map actually marks out the Rendezvous building where my programs are located, as well as the IPO's museum building. The contact information is listed here. And again, I'm happy to email you these slides so you don't have to feel like you need to take a picture of all of these slides. We also have a math center for those of you who want a little extra help with your math assignments and math courses. This is also offered free of charge to you. This is any math assignment at the undergraduate level. This is not run as individual appointments. It's walk-in appointments or walk-in services when the math center is open. And that's located in Rendezvous 327 with an online option also available. And you'll notice that I did put links on here. I know you can't access the links. The Zoom participants have that advantage, but again, I'll email these slides to you if you want. Okay, and then lastly, through University Tutoring, we do offer what's called a Content Area Tutoring Program, or CAT for short, again, free. And this is for all of your classes that maybe it's not a writing assignment or not a math assignment, but you need help with some of the content. For example, biology, psychology, other classes that aren't served by the Writing Center or the Math Center. So this is all academic content at the undergraduate level, and we do offer both individual and small group appointments. Typically, the tutors will meet with students at different campus locations, so you might be able to meet with a tutor here in the Student Union building, or maybe in the Rendezvous building or elsewhere in the library on campus. And I've provided the contact information there as well. Okay, next, the Intensive English Institute is affiliated, is related to University Tutoring, but it focuses specifically on services for international students. So most of you are probably not that worried about your English language skills. You probably feel fairly comfortable communicating in English, but you might have questions about the American dialect or how Americans are using English. So the Intensive English Institute, that would be your source for support in that area. One of the services we offer is a course dedicated to US culture. So we call it ACAD 1106, American Culture and the University Experience. I do have information on that course here. There's no additional fee for a full-time student to add this course. We typically focus on US cultural values, what the expectations are at an American university, and cross-cultural communication skills. So how do you communicate with people from other cultures, or what might be normal in your country that's not normal here, and how can you understand those sorts of things? So 2 sections per semester. Our early 8-week section, we don't have any enrollees, which is fairly typical. Typically, students will enroll for the late 8-week session, and we do have a section available starting in October that you're welcome to email me if you have questions about that. And again, I'll pass around this flyer, and I'll make sure to email the Zoom participants as well. Okay, in addition to ACAT 1106, we also offer tutoring specifically for international students. Okay, so this is separate than the Writing Center and the Math Center. Again, this is totally free to you. This is any assignment, any class, any level, and it's structured a little bit differently in that you can expect very intensive one-on-one support for the assignment. And the focus tends to be a lot on language and culture. So if you've got questions about what does my professor want me to do, I'm not understanding this, this would be a great option for you. Or if you're not sure that you've structured an assignment correctly, this would be a great option for you. So we do work a lot with written assignments and oral presentations, but any assignment you have a question about, you're welcome to bring in, and I can always guide you or refer you to someone who can. As an example, I've been working with an international student for the last year on his physics thesis, graduate level. I am not a physicist. I don't understand anything about physics. However, he's got the content covered. He's okay with the content. What he wants help with is structure, organization, vocabulary choices, things like that. And that's something we can help you with. So you can ask for individual appointments that meet in person in Rendezvous 338, and there's also Zoom appointments available. And again, I'll email these slides to you. We also offer international student workshops, again, free to you. And these are based on student need and interest. I've given some examples here of workshops that we have provided in the past and are more than happy to continue to provide. So academic integrity, academic honesty, I'm sure you've heard a lot about cheating in the US and what it means. This is a great place for you to learn some of the rules about what we count as cheating and what we don't. How to write professional emails, what are the rules for participating in class discussions or preparing oral presentations. And then on the non-academic side, we also focus on cultural topics such as how to make small talk, how to talk friendly conversations with people you don't know well, or maybe American idioms and slang that you're not familiar with. Holidays and celebrations, or actually a very popular workshop is American dating customs. What do people in the US do for romantic relationships? Okay, this is my contact information. So those on Zoom, please email me if you would like me to communicate with you about what we offer. For the rest of you, I have a contact form that I'm going to pass around. And if you can fill in your name and your email, and there's also some workshop suggestions here. You can just mark if you're interested in any of these topics and make sure that it comes back to me, or Nitin said also he could help collect that. And just so you know, we're happy to communicate also. Oh, thank you, Nitin. We're happy to communicate also by text, or if you use WeChat or WhatsApp, just write that information down also, and we will make that happen. So any questions? Okay, well, thank you and welcome. And should I forward? I'll just leave it there while.
And again, I'm happy to email you those slides, if you write your email address down. You don't have to worry about this.
Okay. Next up, we have somebody is here from the Student Health Center. John, I didn't get your last name. I apologize. But we'll go ahead and have him come up, and he's here from the Student Health to talk about the Student Health Center. So come on up.
All right, so I'm Dr. John Malin from the Student Health Center. One of the great services we have here at ISU is the accessibility of our medical providers for our students. We want to keep you healthy, and we know that sometimes when you're faced with a choice between paying for some medical care and buying food or going out for the weekend, a lot of times the medical care goes on the back burner. So we try and lower those barriers by making ourselves accessible. For any student, we do not charge an office visit fee when you come in to see us. That's for essentially unlimited access while you're a student. Anything that we have to do, like a lab test or other procedures and things, there is a small charge for those. But to just come in, talk to a doctor, say, what is this thing? Is it something I need to be concerned about? There's no charge for that for the students. So those of you that have insurance, we can bill for most insurances. If you do not have insurance, we have a very good cash discount for any kind of procedures or tests that need to be done if you pay the same day. So we have fairly comprehensive care. We're going to be starting up with some residents from the residency program that will be working with us on pregnancy care now too. So we're excited to be starting up with some of that too, if that becomes necessary for any of you. So anyway, we're open most of the time when the school's open, either from 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock until about 4:30 during the fall and winter terms. So any questions?
So what happens if they have an emergency after hours?
So after hours, we're contracted with the urgent care. I can't remember the name of it here in town.
Okay.
Or of course, you can go to the emergency department at Portneuf, but that'll cost you. So, and out at the Meridian and Idaho Falls campuses, we have contracts with some local urgent cares there too, to take the same student rate.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mhm.
Do you just want to explain a little bit about the difference between urgent care and emergency care?
Okay, yes.
Trying to understand why that's different.
So emergency room care is supposed to be for very serious injuries or illnesses, things where you might end up needing to go into the hospital. That's not always the way the emergency room is used, but that's what they're there for. A lot of things that are maybe needing to be taken care of before the weekend is over or before the night is over, but you don't think would require a stay in the hospital, that's where you're talking about an urgent care center. So someone who gets a throat infection probably would go to the urgent care rather than the emergency room because it's a lot less expensive. And a lot of times the waiting time is faster. So things where you would go to the emergency room, if you have belly pain that just won't quit and you can't walk, okay, maybe you should go to the emergency room. You just kind of have to figure out a little bit, you know, how serious does this feel like it is? Do I feel like I'm going to die? Yeah, probably go to the emergency room. All right. Any other questions? All right. A lot of you may be used to some different kinds of healthcare systems where you're from, so we'll try and orient you to that. Feel free to stop by. Like I said, there's no charge for you to come and visit us, even just to kind of find out how do I take care of the things I usually take care of here. So thank you, and I look forward to keeping you all healthy.
Thank you. Yeah, one of the things I really do want to stress is that the emergency room is very expensive. Again, if you feel like you're going to die, go to the emergency room. It's better than dying. But it is very expensive, so be aware of that. I love that the services, a lot of the services at the Student Health Center are free. At least the visit is, and so take advantage of that. You're already paying for it through your tuition. So the other thing I want to really emphasize as well is insurance. The university used to require international students to have insurance, though J1 students on a J1 visa are required by law to have insurance. And but the F1 students, we no longer require it. But I want to really emphasize how important it is for you to have insurance, because your medical costs, if you get sick and you have to, even buying prescriptions, sometimes insurance will cover a portion of your prescriptions. But medical procedures can be very, very expensive, and we've had several students who didn't have insurance who ended up, needing to go to the emergency room because it was after hours and got a huge bill, and it just really puts a damper on your education when you have to focus on paying back a really big bill. So there are insurance options. We have some brochures in our office. I'd encourage you to come by and look at the different brochures that we have for the various insurance companies that offer insurance specific for international students. So that's in our office. Come and pick those up so that you can get health insurance. Any questions about that, or any other questions about student health? Yes.
Something I forgot to mention also is that the university is doing an initiative to try and encourage people to get COVID vaccination.
Oh, yeah.
So that anyone that has had it and can prove they've had it or gets it, they can get a voucher for $100 at the dean's office.
Right.
Dean of students. So
Sweet.
bring your immunization card and the bingo card, and they'll swipe it, and you get $100 for doing the right thing.
Great. Awesome. Okay. Thanks again. All right. Let's see where we're at here. Okay, right on schedule. All right, Jesse, let's have you come on up and start the immigration presentation. Have you take us through till about the address stuff. So Jesse's gonna start talking about immigration stuff.
Hello again, my name is Jesse Caboclo. We just want to remind you that anytime you have an immigration question, do not rely on your friend. They'll give you wrong advice. So you don't want to end up in trouble with ICE. Service, who knows what service stands for? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. Student exchange visitor information system. So when you come into the United States, this system we will see in the system that so and so enter the country on this date, this time. If you leave the country, we'll also see that you've entered in the United States. So when you come here, it's very important that you check in with us. The reason why you need to check in, because we need to register your I-20. We're having some issue. I think we have only one grad student who has not checked in yet. They cannot verify her eligibility to work, and that can really affect her work on campus.
Hey, Jesse, can I say one thing?
Sure.
For those of you on the J1 visa, a lot of this is going to be, we're talking about the I-20 and F1 regulations. So be aware that some of the rules are different for you guys. And we'll try to address that when we get to those things that are different.
Exactly.
Whenever he says I-20, you guys think DS-29.
DS-29.
And So a lot of the things are the same, but just be aware of some things are different. We'll try to talk those when we get
Yeah.
there. Okay.
So some of you have already checked in. If you have not checked in, you can check in online. We need this documents, copy of your passport, the copy of the visa page, the I-94, there's a website where you can download it. So anytime you pull out, sometimes you can stop by the office, you give them your I-94, they don't pay attention. Look at the visa type. If they give you F2 or B2, because we need to contact the immigration to correct that. We need to make sure that it's a F1 and it's for DS, duration of status. If there's a date, then we need to let us know so we can contact the immigration. They'll be happy to make a correction. I-20, I hope everybody has an I-20 here. If you don't have an I-20, please stop by the office so we can issue you one. Make sure you have your complete address on the form that the check-in form. If you don't know where you live so far, if you live in a hotel, just put the name of the hotel. And so because once the school starts on Monday, we can start registering your I-20. If you have not checked in again, please, after the orientation, let's go to the office so you can check in. Any questions so far about the I-94? Everybody has an I-94, huh? Nobody on tourist visa here. Okay. Okay, this is our website. So things that you need to know about our website. So since you're here already, when you go to isu.edu, you're always gonna go to current student to access the forms and all other information. Document request, I think Sean went through this before. If you need any of this, please go there and submit the information online. Whenever you make any changes on the address, do not change I think Sean will go through that, because some students, they tend to go play with the address. That can be confusing. So when you make a request, make sure you provide the correct address. Things that you need to know on how to maintain your status. Basic information on F1 and J1 rules. You need to have a valid passport. Passport has to be valid all the time. So two things that need to be valid is I-20 and the passport. You need to have a valid I-94. You need to have a valid I-20 or DS-2019. And full-time credits. For undergrads, 12 credits. For grad student, 9 credits. You need to make normal progress. And I think when you go to the academic advising, they will explain what normal progress is. You need to maintain a certain GPA. Report your address changes. Anytime you move from one apartment to another, you have 10 days to notify the immigration. It's easier to come through us, so we can do that for you. Do not work illegally. So illegally means you work without permission. Anytime you find a job off campus, please come to us so you can ask questions. We advise you accordingly. So reduce course load. These are people that have some issues with courses. Maybe it's the academic reason, initial difficulty with English. Some people might come here for PhD level and they cannot understand very well English. The department might say, hey, I think you need to take less credits so you can be able to catch up. If you are unfamiliar with the United States system, the way they teach, that's also another reason. Improper course level. Some students they will come to the school, they register in the wrong classes. Then when you find out it's too late, then that will also be one of the reasons to qualify for reduced course load. Medical recommendation. If you have medical issues, you need to contact the certified medical doctors in order to give you a letter. Final semesters, people who are in the last semester, if you only have one course to graduate, we authorize you to get a reduced course load as well. Grad student, who are working on thesis or dissertation, they can also take less credit. If it's a 1 credit course, and that's fine, we will do that. But you don't do that on your own. We have to give you an I-20 that says that you have permission to take a reduced course load. And we have that information on our website with the instructions and so forth. Immigration documents. Try not to lose your immigration documents. Some student who could afford like a safety at the bank, say safety box, you keep it there, or in your apartment, you need to keep it at a safe place. Yeah, if you lose it, you need to make sure that you contact us so we can give you a new I-20. Your government will replace your passport, but as far as the immigration is concerned, you need to have a copy of your visa. Hopefully, everybody will check in so that if you lose, in case you lose your passport, we can always give you the copy of your visa page, so that next time you go to the embassy, they can just give you the I-20 without anything. Keep passport valid. So renew your passport 9 months prior to expiration date. We have some country where it's very difficult to get a hold of the people in charge of renewing the passport. So make sure you do it ahead of time. Certain countries like, I think, Pakistan, sorry to pick one country, they're very good. You can just go to the police department in Pocatello, they take a picture, they share the same database, the embassy will send you the passport to renew it. The other country, you have to mail the passport so you can get a new one. So everybody should have a visa like that. For your US entry document, that's the visa that you have. This visa just allow you to come out the door, port of entry. We had a student who complained a little bit to his family that he was questioned more than he was questioned at the embassy. So yeah, the port of entry, they want to know why you're entering here. They have the right to send you back if they don't want to admit you. So once they admit you, that's when you get an I-94 in the system. So this visa will not affect your immigration status here. So this is the immigration stamp. It's only for, I always tell students, this is only good to get to board your plane. Once you enter the United States, the immigration gives you the visa status to stay in the US. Okay, only need to renew if planning to re-enter the country. Some countries, they have 5 years visa. Certain countries, they have only 3 months or 6 months. Once they travel after that, if it's expired, then you need a new one. They need to get a new stamp in a passport, which can be done in Mexico, Canada, or in your country. Okay, this is visa information. You have the website. On our website, you can get some new information about the visa and everything else on how to renew your visa. Please come talk to me about that. Hey, so far, everything good? Any question? Okay. So make sure you print out the I-94. It's on our website, www.cbp.gov/I-94. Again, you see that F1DS has to be on your I-94. If there is an expiration date, you please contact us so you can contact CBP and have them fix it. Yeah, if you need a Social Security number, driver license, or more, please come by the office so we can, you submit your request online. I'm going to send you the letter electronically, and you can pick up the original at the office. Again, your I-20 cannot expire. So pay attention to your I-20. For grad student, you only have 2 years. Undergrad, you have 48 months. So make sure you extend your I-20 if you're not graduating. Okay. Keep up to date your biographic information, educational level. Sometimes your educational level on I-20 might be wrong. Please come by the office so we can fix it. So we might have some students want to say instead of master's, we put bachelor. We need to fix that. Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes when we fix it from bachelor to a master, we give it 2 years. Yeah, Mhm. Your major, make sure the major matches your real major that you're going through, which is different from the exchange student. Anytime you want to travel, make sure the back of your I-20 is signed and your I-20 read on the first page, continue attendance. When you came in, it show initial attendance. So every time you want to travel, go back to your country, we need to sign it. The signature on the back of the I-20 on the second page, it's valid for 1 year. So if you know that you might be traveling for Christmas, you can come by sometimes in September or before Thanksgiving so we can sign it. You need an I-20 to go to Mexico, to go to Canada, or to go to your country. Some students tend to forget that because Mexico is just closer to California, you can just cross the border. If you don't have an I-20, they'll not let you back in. Yeah. So these are things that you need to consider while traveling. And Sean will go through the address with you. Any other question? Nope. Okay, thank you, guys.
All right. So before I continue, I would like to give you guys a quiz. How would you like your first quiz of the year? We'll just do it out loud, okay? We'll have you shout out the answers. So Jesse went through some of these things. I want to make sure that you guys really understand these immigration rules and regulations. So raise your hand if you know the answers to these questions. So how many, well, what would you consider normal progress? Immigration requires that you make normal progress toward your degree. What does that mean? Yes. Okay. Actually, they don't care as much about the GPA. It's a semester to semester thing. Yes. Okay. For undergraduates, you got to be registered for 12 credits. Graduate students, what is it? 9. Yes. So they just, yeah, and it's true. They want you to, I mean, you need to maintain your GPA so that you can make normal progress toward the end of your degree. They want you to get it done in 4 years for undergraduate, 2 years for graduate. Sometimes you have to extend a little bit, and that's okay. That's normal for students to need to extend sometimes. So whatever is normal for a student from the US to graduate would be normal for you guys as well. In general, that's, now, there's a lot of rules about enrollment. So you guys have to be enrolled for 12 credits every semester. You can't take a semester off, except for some very specific reasons that Jesse talked about, and you can get a reduced course load, right? How many days? Oh, look at that, it's up there. We haven't talked about this yet. We'll come back to that. Do you guys know how many hours a week you're allowed to work on campus?
20 hours a week.
20 hours a week. J1 students are not allowed to work without permission from me. So academic training is a different thing. In general, you're not allowed to work on campus. F1 students, you're allowed to work up to 20 hours a week. And I'll talk some more about that as well. Okay. So Jesse talked about some of the reasons you can be below full time. What, can anybody name one of them?
If you're from a country that doesn't speak English and you can't understand the classes, you can do requests.
Gotcha. Yep. So that's valid for your first semester if you're having difficulty with the English language. One of the teachers might say, he's having a difficult time or she's having a difficult time. Please allow them to drop below full time and we can approve that. Any others that you remember? How about failing a class? Is that was that one of the reasons? Silence. Yeah, no, it's not. So if you're not doing well in a class, unfortunately, we cannot allow you to drop below full time. Now you could drop the class and add a different one, right? As long as you maintain 9 credits for graduate students or 12 credits for undergraduate. So regardless of how you're doing in your classes, you do have to stay enrolled full time, okay? What about, so some of the other ones was like medical. So if you have a medical issue, you can drop below full time. if it's your last semester, right? And you don't have enough credits. Okay. Here's another question. Do you become illegal in the US when your visa expires? No. Good answer. Good. What does it mean when your visa expires? No, you're allowed to be here, actually. You can't come in. Exactly. You can't come in. So if you leave, then you just can't get back in. So the visa, think of it as a key to get into the US. Okay, it's your key to open the door. It's your permission to come to the border and ask for permission to come in, because still the Border Patrol they can send you back even if you have a visa. They make that determination whether it's legal for you to be here. Okay, so your visa could expire. That does not automatically mean you're illegal in the US. It just means that you can't leave and then come back in until you renew that visa or get a new visa, right? What is the document that says how long you're able to stay in the US? I-20, yes. And your I-94, actually. So your I-94, like Jesse said, says D/S. That means duration of status. Duration of status just refers to your I-20, which has an end date. That's how long you're allowed to be in the US. So it's very, very important that you don't let your I-20 expire, because if your I-20 expires, then you do become out of status. You do have a 60-day grace period after your I-20 expires to go home, but if you don't extend it, if you needed it extended before it expired, then you're in trouble. Then you have to apply for what's called reinstatement. And nobody wants to go through reinstatement, trust me. It's expensive and very difficult to go through. So just make sure you keep an eye on that I-20 end date. Don't let it expire. Also, if you need to travel, do you need to have your I-20 signed? You do? How long does that travel signature last? 1 year, yes. Yeah.
So do you need to have your I-20 signed if you travel inside the US or
No.
just international?
Just internationally, yeah. So yeah, even if you go to Hawaii, technically you don't need your, because Hawaii is part of the US, right? So you don't need to have your I-20 signed. Anywhere in the US, you're fine. But if you have to leave, even just for a little bit, just for a short trip to Canada or whatever, make sure you have your I-20 signed for reentry. And then that signature is valid for a year. So you don't need to have us sign it again as long as you're coming back within that year. Okay. All right. Good job. You guys got it. So address updates. You do need to update your address within 10 days of moving. You do that in BangoWeb. So you log into BangoWeb. You guys probably recognize this. When you get in there, you go to Academic Tools, the tab there on the left, and then you should see, let me get rid of this. There we go. You should see under Student Records, there's a little link that you probably can't see from down there called Update Addresses and Phones, okay? Update Address and Phones. You click on that, and you'll come to a screen that shows what your current mailing address is, what your resides at address is, and what your permanent address is. There's 3 different address types that you need to be paying attention to. So that top one, the mailing, is not linked to immigration. It's just your mailing address where you want your mails to be sent to, okay? So that one's not as important as these other 2 that are linked to immigration. The resides at address is linked to immigration. It's what we use to report to SEVIS, report to immigration, where you live in the US, okay, in Pocatello. So make sure that resides at address is correct. And then your permanent address is the 3rd type of address, which should be your home country address, and that's also linked to immigration. So you need to not change that to any other address. Your permanent address needs to stay your home country address. So don't change that. So when you want to make a change to any of those addresses, you click on the blue link, and that will take you to the current address, and you can change it. Same with the resides at address. If you want to insert a new address, then you select it from that drop down both there. And again, it's either the mailing, permanent, or resides at that are important. So if you're changing your Pocatello address, make sure you change your resides at address and your mailing address. They're often the same, right? Where you want your mail sent to is the same address as where you're actually residing, where you're living. So when you click resides at, and all of you need to do this if you haven't already, you need to go in here and put your new address here in Pocatello. So you click on the drop down, you click resides at, and then it takes you to this form. And up at the upper left, you'll see that resides at is the type of address at the top. That's the one you're updating. And in here, you're going to put your Pocatello address. If you're living off campus, you're going to put the street and the name of the street and the house number. If you're living on campus, you're going to put 921 South 8th Avenue, and then on address line 1, and then on address line 2, you're going to put the name of the building and your room number. So Turner Hall, room 423, or whatever it is. And then, but for all on-campus addresses, it should start out in address line 1 as 921 South 8th Avenue. Okay. And then city is Pocatello, state Idaho 83209 for if you're living on campus. If you're living off campus, you might have a different zip code. All right, so make sure that you put in your resides at address. We need this address in order to register your SEVIS record. You won't be able to apply for a Social Security card if you need one until we register your SEVIS record. So it's very, very important that you put this address in, because it's the way that we report to SEVIS that you're here, you're registered for classes, and that you're ready to go, okay? If we don't report it, then you fall out of status with immigration. All right. Any questions about address updates? Okay, so let's talk about employment. So as you were saying, the regulation for, and this is specific to F1, you're allowed to work on campus up to 20 hours a week. That comes with your status just as an F1 student. It's just part of your status. So you don't have to get any special permission to work on campus. It must be on campus. So McDonald's across the street does not qualify. But some of the restaurants that are on campus, like in the Student Union building, do count because it is technically on campus. So any jobs with departments, we hire students in our office sometimes. So any office jobs that are on campus through the various offices, those are available for you to take those jobs. You're allowed to be full-time during school breaks. So let's see. So school breaks include summer, the winter break, which is, between the fall and the spring semester. Then we also have Thanksgiving break for 1 week and spring break for that's 1 week in the spring semester. During those times, you're allowed to work full-time, okay, over 20 hours a week. But when school is in session, then you're limited to 20 hours a week. So off campus, you just know that you are not allowed to work off campus unless you've talked to our office and gotten special permission. Okay, any off campus work requires some kind of permission, either from us or from us and immigration. Okay, they must have authorization by us. And it's available for economic hardship or practical training. Let me see if see your immigration advisor for more details. Economic hardship, not very many students apply for it. What it means is that if you're having if you're in a situation where you no longer have the funding that was on your I-20 when you first came, so you know, some of you were sponsored by your families, for example. If that funding suddenly goes away because of an economic situation, you can apply to immigration for economic hardship, which means that they give you a card that allows you to work off campus for a year. So if you find yourself in that situation, there are some very specific rules about that and qualifications for it. You can talk to Jesse in our office and he can help you know if you qualify for that, to apply for that. But it's like $400 and something to apply. You send an application to immigration and it takes them about 3 or 4 months to approve. Okay, and then practical training is the other off-campus work. So some of you are in majors where you might need to do an internship. There's curricular practical training and optional practical training, CPT, OPT. Curricular practical training is when you have a requirement in your major to do some work and you have to do it off campus. So we can authorize that. And again, just talk to Jesse if you do have a need to do CPT. And then optional practical training allows you to do an internship after you've graduated in a field of study, in a job that's related to your field of study. So it gives you the opportunity to get some practice in the real world after you've graduated for up to a year or 3 years if you're in a science, technology, engineering, or math degree. Okay, lots and lots of more details to all of that. We have a workshop mid-semester that talks about OPT, and so we would encourage you to come to that if you need more information. If any of you plan to stay for 1 year and work in the country after you get your degree, you're going to want to come to one of those workshops. All right, Social Security. You're only going to need a Social Security card if you start working in the US. In fact, you cannot get a Social Security card unless you have a job. So if you're going to work on campus, what happens is you get the job first, and then when you're doing the paperwork with HR, they ask for a Social Security card. You just say, I don't have one yet. There's a form that you have your employer fill out that we have in our office. You have your employer fill that out. You bring it to us, and then we sign it, and then you take that form with you to the Social Security office, and you can get a Social Security number. So you have to have a job to get a Social Security card, and you can't get a Social Security card unless you have a job. So, and you do need to get a Social Security card once you do get a job. So HR gives you a little bit of time to do that. You can still start your job while you're waiting for that Social Security card to come. You just start working, and then eventually, I think it takes about 12 weeks for your Social Security card to come. Again, we have that form in our office. So if you get a job, just come and get the form and you can get started. And then also, you cannot apply until your SEVIS record is registered. So some of you may be starting like graduate assistantships, for those of you who are graduate students. Some of you, I think I've registered your SEVIS records so that you can go ahead and apply for your Social Security card. But check with us first before you go to the Social Security office, because you'll be disappointed when you get there and they say, oh, your SEVIS record's not registered. You're going to have to go talk to the International Programs Office. So we need to register your SEVIS record first. I haven't done it for most of you yet because we usually wait until the first day of classes. I will start registering SEVIS records next week. And so long story short, if you're getting a job right away on campus, give it a couple weeks before you go to Social Security for your SEVIS record to get registered first, so that you don't waste time going there and just get turned away. Okay. Any questions about Social Security or employment? All right. There's another rule about being in the US for 10 days. So again, that's why we encourage you just to wait a couple weeks before you apply for your Social Security. All right. So maintaining your status is your responsibility. Remember, Jesse said at the very beginning, don't ask friends about immigration rules. Oops. Get your answers from our office. The rules change. Sometimes the way the rules are applied at a university is different. And so you may have friends at other universities who are trying to tell you about an immigration rule, but they understand it in the context of their own school. And it may be different because different universities apply things a little bit differently. So make sure you get your answers from us. Don't get answers from friends, okay? Or family. And again, we try our best to make sure that you guys are aware of any immigration rule changes. But in the end, maintaining your status is your responsibility. So make sure that you understand the rules. If you don't understand something, make sure you come and ask us so we can clarify things. One of the things I hate to see is students not understanding something and then they get into trouble, and that affects your academics when you're having to go through applying for reinstatement or you fall out of status and all the headaches that come along with that. We want you guys to be successful at school and not have to worry about immigration rules. But the way that you make sure that you don't fall out of status is by knowing what the rules are and really understanding them. So make sure you are proactive and get your answers, your questions answered by us if you have any questions. Pay attention to any announcements that we send out from our office, and read any other information that we have on our website. All right, any more questions at all about immigration? Sweet. Let's see how we're doing on time. Okay. Nitin, we'll go ahead and have you present. So Nitin's going to talk about academic advising. Let's do that.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. If my voice is not clear enough, please raise your hand. I will try my best to explain things and repeat things. And during my presentation, if any question pops up in your mind, you can write it down and either ask after the presentation or just raise your hand, and I will be happy to answer that, okay? So welcome to ISU. My name is Nitin Shrivastava, and I am an academic advisor in the International Programs Office. I basically do undergraduate advising, but I also advise exchange students sometimes, and I coordinate with the departments. So that's my contact information. You can email me or phone me or call me at the extension 4465. You can also schedule advising appointment by going to our website, and you will have option to schedule a Zoom appointment, Google Hangout, or even phone appointment. You can also email me if you want, or if you prefer in-person meeting, just let me know. And I can use all these modes of communication with you for this semester. Okay, so the first thing that you should be asking after your arrival is, who's your academic advisor? Remember, academic advising plays a very important role in your success. So it is essential that you keep in touch with your advisor as soon as you start your program here. So if you are an undergraduate student, how many of you are in the undergraduate program? Okay, so for undergraduate student, at this point, you must have been assigned a professional and an IPO academic advisor. Either me or a professional advisor would help you in your initial class registration. Okay, if you have any question related to class registration, you can direct those questions to me at this point. Once you start completing your initial courses, you will have your own college or major advisor. Okay, and right now, since you're beginning your program, during this semester, you will be contacted by me if I see that you need help in class registration, or if I notice that you have mistakenly withdrawn from a class or something like that. Throughout this semester, if you have any questions regarding adding or dropping a class, adding a late week class, questions related to your academic performance, if you're not doing well in a particular class, if you have questions about minor and majors, if you want to change your major, or if you have any questions related to GPA calculations, scholarship requirements, or any sort of academic questions, I'm your best resource. Okay, so please feel free to let me know as you continue to study at ISU. Now, for those of you who are graduates, how many of you are graduate students? Okay, so at this time, you must have been contacted by your graduate advisor. Okay, if you haven't been contacted by a graduate advisor, let us know. Your graduate advisor will help you in registering your classes for the first semester. Also, for those of you who are in study abroad program, you can always contact Kirby or me, and we can coordinate with your major department to make sure that you are in the right classes. Okay. Now, this is applicable to undergraduate students. If you are an undergraduate student, you will be required to take an English and math class. And to be placed in an English or math class, you need to have some placement scores. Okay. For example, to be placed in an English class, you need to have a TOEFL or IELTS or ACT or ACT score. All right. If you do not have any of these scores, let me know after this session, and I can coordinate with English department to see which English class you can be placed in. Okay. Same goes with the math courses. All undergraduate students are required to have a math class. Okay. To take a math class, you need to be placed, you need to have a placement score. All right. Which could be in the form of either ACT or SAT scores. If you do not have ACT or SAT scores, you have the option to take what's called ALEX Math Placement Exam. Okay. I believe you can also schedule the ALEX. You can schedule ALEX placement test by calling the department. I believe at this point they are also conducting online remote testing. So you can take the ALEX placement test remotely. Okay. You need to call them at 208-282-4506. All right. Everyone understand why you need to take ALEX placement test if you don't have any ACT or SAT math placement score? Any questions? Okay, now, if for some reason you're not able to get placed in a math class after taking ALEX placement test,
you have the option to take a class called Math 90. Math 90 is a self-paced math class where you will be working on modules at your own pace, and you will try to pass the exit levels of the math courses that are offered here at ISU. So for example, if you want to take college algebra for your major, which is Math 1143, you can complete the modules for Math 1143 and then pass the exit level exam for Math 1143, so that in the following semester, you can take Math 1143. Does that make sense? Or a class that requires Math 1143 as a prerequisite. All right. Okay, some of the registration tips. As Sean has already talked about this thing, maintaining your full-time status, right? If you are an undergraduate student, you must be registered in 12 credits, okay? And when I say regular semester, I mean spring and fall. In the summer semester, you're not required to take a minimum of 12 credits. And if you choose not to take any class in summer, that's fine. But to maintain your full-time status, you must take 12 credits in regular semesters, okay? And out of those 12 credits, 9 credits must be in person, okay? If you're a graduate student, then you must be registered in 9 credits to maintain your full-time status, and 6 credits must be in person. Do you know what do I mean by in-person credits? It means that those classes should not be completely online. Okay. Now, you can add online classes on top of the in-person credits, but you have to maintain those minimum required in-person credits. Okay, which is 9 for undergraduate students and 6 for graduate students. Is this clear?
And that is that's a immigration requirement, not an ISU requirement. Immigration requires that you only are allowed 1 online class per semester. Okay.
Now, for those of you who are taking classes from their home country, this may not be applicable because you are only taking a couple of online classes. And since you are not here, you're not present here in person, so this F1 regulation doesn't apply to you. Okay, if you choose to drop or withdraw any class, please let me know before doing that. Okay, sometimes students, they by mistake end up dropping a class that they shouldn't have done at the first place. So, and also if dropping or withdrawing this class, the credits take you below the minimum required limit, which is 12 for undergraduate and 9 for graduate. In that case, you need to inform me, okay, so that I can direct you to the right resources. Is that clear? Regular attendance, again, it may be counted as an immigration requirement. Make sure that you do not end up getting an X in the classroom. X is the same as getting an F grade, which is a failing grade. However, this also indicates that you didn't attend the class at all. All right. So academically, X is equivalent to F grade, failing grade. But so in a way, it's better to get a failing grade in a course rather than getting an X grade, because X would also indicate and inform us that you didn't attend your class. Okay, so you may be violating your full-time student status. Also, in the US education system, your performance is measured in terms of the letter grade. Okay, each letter grade starting from A to F or an X has a certain grade value, And these grade values are calculated to give you overall grade point average, also known as GPA. Also, depending on the number of credits you have attained in a particular semester, you may be classified as freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. Again, this is applicable for undergraduates only. Is that clear? Okay. So these are a few terms that I want to be familiar with. Remember that the maximum attempted credits that is allowed for you as an undergraduate student is 21. All right. Typically it's 18, but if you get permission, it can be extended to 21, but that's only under exceptional circumstances. In your first semester as an undergraduate student, you should not known as dropping a class and withdrawing a class. If you drop a class within the first 10 business days of the semester, then they are not counted, those credits are not counted towards your earned credits, and they do not reflect on your transcript. Does that make sense? However, if you try to drop a class after the 10th business day of the start of the semester, it will be counted as withdrawn, okay? And withdrawn is counted as attempted credits, all right? So it won't go away from your transcript. The letter W will be reflected on your transcript, which will indicate that the course was withdrawn, which basically means you dropped that course after the add drop period. Does that make sense? So whether you should withdraw a class or not, to answer this question, you should contact me. All right. If you feel like that you really want to drop a class after the add drop period, then just contact me before withdrawing that class. All right. And if these terms are not clear right now, it's okay. I will send you a PowerPoint presentation that clearly explains that, and please feel free to email me if you have any questions related to these two terms. When you register for classes at ISU, make sure that you are familiar with some of the terms that are used in class registration. The first thing is term. Term implies to a particular semester. So when you go to register your classes in Bengal Web, first select the specific term that you want to register in. For this semester, it will be Fall 21. CRN, each course is assigned a unique course registration number, which is known as CRN. You need to select the right course number and the section number. Also, make sure that you are choosing the right campus when registering for classes. ISU has 4 campuses, all right? And if you are going to stay in Pocatello, make sure that all of your classes are offered in Pocatello campus. IF stands for Idaho Falls, which is around 50 minutes drive from here. And you won't like to drive there every time to attend the class, okay? So make sure that all your classes are here in Pocatello. MD stands for Meridian, TF stands for Twin Falls campus, HS stands for high school students. Also, the classes are offered through different schedule types. You will see a class which is offered as lecture. Then some science classes may have lab associated with it. There are some online classes. Some classes may have a mix of online components and in-person component. And some classes may be offered as video conferencing. If you're not able to get into the course because the seat is full, in that case, try to register that course under the waiting list. So if at the last moment a student drops a class and a seat is open, the instructor will contact you and ask you to register in that section. Is that clear? Also, make sure that you are choosing the sections which matches with your right choice of day and time. So if you want your classes on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, try to choose that section, okay? Because you will also see the same subject will have several sections offered during different days and times. So Monday stands for Monday, sorry, M stands for Monday, T stands for Tuesday, W for Wednesday, R is for Thursday, okay? F is for Friday, S for Saturday, U for Sunday. Okay, so make your schedules accordingly. Also, make sure that there are no time conflicts between the two courses. As long as you give at least 10 minutes between the two classes, you should be able to walk from one building to another building on time. Again, like I emphasized before, your course load should be a balanced load, okay? Remember, first semester, some students may be tempted to take 18 credits in their first semester, but you may have to adjust to your personal and college life in your very first semester. So taking a balanced load of 14 to 15 credits is good. If you have any questions regarding your first semester schedule, please let me know. Okay, any questions so far? Adding and dropping a class. Once you log into your Bengal Web, you should see a screen like this. You need to select academic tools and then select add or drop classes. All right. After that, you will see this website where it will ask you to enter the CRNs. Like I said, each course has a unique course reference number called CRN. You can either directly input those numbers here and then click submit changes, or you can do the class search directly by clicking on this button known as class search and then select the courses according to the alphabets. All right. To drop a class that you have already registered, all you need to do is click on this drop-down menu and select drop, web drop, and then hit the submit button. And doing that will drop that class from your schedule. Is that clear? Okay. If you're an undergraduate student, for your degree requirement, you have to take 9 general education objectives and your major required courses to complete at least 120 credits. This is a general overview of undergraduate degree. And there is a tool that you can use on your Bengal Web. It's called DegreeWorks. DegreeWorks will give you 3 things, okay? When you click on DegreeWorks, on the upper left-hand side, it will tell you your major, your Bengal ID, and the name of your advisor. So if at this point you don't know who your advisor is, just go to DegreeWorks, click on that DegreeWorks link, and as soon as the window opens, on the upper left-hand side, you should be able to see the name of your advisor. Next to that, you will see general education requirement for the university and your major requirement. So all the courses that are required for your degree will be listed there. So as you keep completing those courses, you will see a green check mark in front of those courses, which will indicate that you have completed those requirements. Is that clear? Okay. And this is applicable to all the students, okay? I want you to tell you something about how to navigate isu.edu website. So please pay attention here. If you go to our website, isu.edu, there are three very useful tools. Well, there are several useful tools, but three of them I want you to know. This is our website. On the upper right-hand side, there is a link which says Quick Links, right? Click there. And then on the extreme left-hand side, you see this link which says A to Z index. All right. If you click on A to Z index, this will basically give you, it's an alphabetical list of everything which is associated with ISU. Okay. So any information you want to gain, for example, you want to know what kind of majors or minors are offered at ISU. So all you need to do is select the letter M and then select majors. Once you go to this page, this will list all the majors that are offered at ISU. Okay, and if you want to know the specifics of these majors, just click there and it will take you to the program page. Yes.
I just realized the Zoom people probably can't see this. Let me share the screen so they can see it. If I can find the Zoom. Where is it? Oh. Let's have them do this one here. Okay, now they should see it. Okay.
So this is a very useful tool for you, and feel free to use this feature. And if you want to know anything that's related to ISU, like Rec Center, or it will basically cover everything. Okay. The second tool that I want you to use is, again, you need to go to Quick Links, select directory. Okay. Once you go to directory, and let's say you know the name of a faculty or a staff, okay, but you don't know where his or her office is located, or what's the phone number if you want to contact that person. In that case, all you need to do is just type the first name here. Okay, let's say you know the name of a person called Nitin, N-I-T-I-N, but you want to know the specifics of where he's located, where his office is, what's his email, what's his phone number. Just type here and click search. Okay, once you click, there you go. You can see, well, looks like I wear many hats. There it is. It will tell you my office location, museum building, 437 Pocatello, Idaho. It will also reflect my phone number and my email address. Okay, so that's the second tool, which is very handy. And also the third is Bengal Web, because everything, your degree work, your Moodle, where all of your course materials will be uploaded, everything is given on Bengal Web. So this will take you directly there. So these three are some of the tools that you can use frequently. This is Janus, right? Sean?
Just go back to it.
This is presentation, right? Oh, there we go. Okay. Also make sure that you check your Moodle page frequently, because Moodle consists of all the courses that you're taking or you have already registered for this semester. Make sure that you check your emails regularly. This is a habit that you need to develop in college life. That's checking your isu.edu email address, because all the important notifications and announcements are done through email communication, okay? When you see the syllabus of the instructor, you should be able to find office hours. Those office hours are only reserved for the students. So if you have any questions or concern, make sure that you take advantage of the office hours. You can go directly to the instructor's office, talk to them. If in the view of pandemic, the in-person office hours are not available, then your instructor must give you a link for Zoom walk-ins. Okay, so you can meet your advisor online via Zoom. Okay. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the classroom. I know in some culture, asking direct questions to the instructor is not considered very respectful, but in the US education system, asking questions is considered a good thing. Okay. If you're going to be absent in a particular class for a longer period of time, make sure that you let your instructor know in advance. Okay. Don't surprise your instructor by not coming to the class for a consistent period of time. If you end up getting a D or an F grade, make sure that you give priority in repeating those classes in the following semester. Can anyone tell why I'm saying this? Why I'm advising this? Why I advise to immediately repeat a D or an F grade class? Exactly, because the information is fresh in your mind. Okay, so repeating the class immediately not only help you get good grades, but also it will remove the previous grade from your GPA calculation. So let's say you're taking Psychology 1101 this semester, you end up getting a D or an F in the semester. Then in the following semester, you repeat the class and get an A. Then that A grade will replace your previous grade of D or an F, and your overall GPA will increase. Okay. If you are on non-resident tuition fee waiver scholarship, then make sure that you satisfy all its requirements by passing 24 credits, which includes no repeated credits, maintaining a GPA of 2.5. If for any reason you have to take a class in summer to maintain a scholarship, you need to take a prior permission from the scholarship office. Also, make sure that you are aware of the resources that's helpful to you. For example, Student Success Center, Jana gave a presentation today. If you need tutoring services or any English related services, it's free of cost. So feel free to reach out to them. Counseling and Testing Center is a great resource, and we just have our guest here. They will tell you what are the resources available for you. Transportation, you have, if you don't have car, there are two sets of bus that runs in the campus. The first is in-campus bus, which is free of cost to you. So if you want to go from Student Union building to School of Nursing or Holt Arena, in that case, you can always take the bus, which runs in the campus. I think it runs frequently within 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. If you want to go to a mall, or Walmart or any other shopping place, there are city buses that pass through the university. And I believe you need to just show your student ID and maybe a quarter or two they charge for each route. Okay. We have Career Services Center if you want to develop your resume or you want to learn how to write cover letters and things like that. That's an excellent resource. Scholarship office is there. And of course, International Programs Office is here to help you get answers for all your questions. Any questions or concerns? Okay, so before I leave, I would like to know how many of you have already, or how many of you haven't registered for classes yet? Okay, good. So if you want to register for classes or if you want to change your schedule, please feel free to email me and I will either help you adjust your schedule, class schedule, or will direct you to the right advisor to do that. All right? Okay. Thank you so much.
Our next speakers are from our Counseling and Testing Center. So we've got Cheryl Yee and Megan Osler, and we'll turn the time over to them.
Thank you, Sean. I know I'm short. I'm Cheryl Yee, and I am from the Counseling and Testing Center, and Megan Osler is one of our interns from the social work program. We are here just to bring some information about counseling and testing, and also talk about the possibility of some culture shock that can happen in coming to a new place. So why don't you get us started, Megan?
Started here. Okay, so just going to first start out by telling you what CATS is. It stands for Counseling and Testing Service. CATS is a free confidential service for all ISU students. And we are here to just kind of help you through this, the stress of school, the stress of being in a new place, managing those emotions, and anything that might be coming up for you, anxiety, relationship concerns, trauma, and whatever you're experiencing, we want you to feel free to call us with any of those concerns. We also at CATS offer professional testing services. So the ALEX test, which is a math placement test, GRE and entrance exams and certification and licensing exams. So if you need any help or have any questions about any of these testing services, just give us a call over at CATS and they can answer any of your questions about those services. And then how this is just our number and our information for reaching us. We are open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. Call us anytime during those hours. And initially you will meet with a clinician over the phone who will do kind of an interview with you and then direct you to the appropriate services from there. And some of the services that we offer at CATS are individual counseling and group counseling. And this semester, we are going to do most of those services over Zoom, which is similar to what we did last year, since with the new mask mandates and policy here at ISU for COVID. So it's just safer to have it over Zoom. So yeah, we can do individual counseling, group counseling, and consultation. So give us a call and we'll set you up from there. We also have a really great service that we offer, which is our stress management and biofeedback center. And I will be doing my internship there this year. And how many of you are familiar with biofeedback? Is there anybody here that knows what that is? Great. So it's really a great service, kind of a new and upcoming kind of thing in the mental health field. Basically, biofeedback is just information about your body. So When you come into the office at Biofeedback, we kind of hook you up to some very non-invasive monitors that track your responses to stress, just so your heart rate, your breathing, your skin temperature on your fingers and things like that. It's very non-invasive, and through doing that, you learn a lot about your body and your response to stress. And then we share kind of like some strategies and some things to help you to manage your stress a little better. So if you're someone who gets anxiety when you take tests or something, Biofeedback would be a great service for you, or just generalized anxiety as well.
And athletes for
And
performance
athletes for,
anxiety.
right, so for performance, it's a great thing. I know some coaches really will push to have you come into Biofeedback. If you want to improve your performance and that it would be a great service for you to come in and take advantage of. And we're meeting in the rec center this semester, so in person. Does anybody have any questions about that before I go on? Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Cheryl now.
So has everyone been sitting in the same place all day long? Sitting with the same people? I would like everyone to get up and like meet some new people and ask each other a little bit about where each other is from. Has anyone been to Pocatello before? All right, one. Has anyone been other places in the US before? Have you noticed, is Pocatello like every other place in the US? No. I'm from Arizona and I had a bit of culture shock myself when coming here. It's very different than what I was used to. I was used to, Phoenix is a population of about 5 million in the greater Phoenix area. And here we have what, 50,000 or something. I felt like I was in Mayberry, and most people may not know what Mayberry is because I'm that old. So, but please, I want everyone to get up, meet different people, talk with different people about where you've been, where you're coming from, and then what the changes are that you've noticed in being in Pocatello. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this adjustment process that we go through when we come into a new place. Some of you have been other places like Oklahoma and San Diego, and just know, like, when you move into a new place, we go through a normal adjustment process. Part of culture shock is part of that, but that's a normal part of the process. And I want you guys to know that, because it might feel really uncomfortable if you're feeling like people have whole different ways of doing things than you're used to. It's normal, and just to recognize that and be okay with that is part of the process. When you first come to Idaho or any new place, you're going to go through this honeymoon phase where you're like, it's so cute when they do that. I can't believe they say that. All these different things are going to seem kind of fun, kind of interesting, and it only lasts for a little while. Culture shock comes in when you keep getting confronted with differences that you're not used to. It is exhausting for the most part, because you're like trying to do something the way you usually do it, and everyone's might be looking at you like, I don't know why you're doing it that way. Driving on the left side of the road, Australia, get used to the right side when you start driving, okay? Right, Kayla? But all of those things are really, it's just know that you're gonna get lost in a new place, and that in a place isn't necessarily where you are, but like emotionally, like being confronted over and over is really hard. And I want you to know that, and I want you to know, like, I support you in all of that. My in-laws moved to the US from China, and I always was like, how do you have the courage to move from across the world to a place where it's not your first language and you don't speak much English? And that is super impressive to me. And all of you, like, if English may not be your first language, and you're coming to study under that. And I think, dang, you guys have courage. You guys have bravery, and I love that. And even if English is your first language, it's moving to a really different place. Idaho, Pocatello is different. It's different for me coming from Arizona, where there's like so many people, and coming here and I'm like, wow, it's like people are a lot nicer and friendlier in some ways. And it feels like, I was like, there's like a swimming hole and a fishing hole in my neighborhood. In Phoenix, there's really not any swimming hole. There's swimming pools, but no just like natural water, right? Let me look at the next process is negotiation. After you've been here and you've been frustrated, you are going to learn to adjust. You're going to achieve greater acceptance of the differences that are existing around you, and you're going to feel a little more balanced. It's still going to take thought process, like thinking through, like, my natural instinct is to do this way or say this, and that's not the way they say it here or do it here. And it's just negotiating what's going on. And eventually you get to adaptation where it becomes your new normal. And then when you go home, sorry, but you're gonna have to go through a little culture shock maybe when you go home, where you're like used to doing it this way, and now I'm driving on the left side of the road again. So, but at adaptation, you're gonna feel like things start to make sense. And it takes time, and there's not a time frame. Like, I can't say, you're gonna spend 1 week in culture shock, you're gonna spend another month in this. It's gonna be, everyone's gonna go at their own pace. And so I want you guys to like recognize that this is normal when you're coming from somewhere else. There are some different things to navigate being here instead of back home. Friendships and relationships may be a little different. Some cultures like encourage same-sex friendships and more romantic relationships of opposite sex. And here you can have, like, those friendships and relationships are different. You might be closer to people and be more, some people are more physically touchy and some people are not. In this time of pandemic, we'll see how that goes, right? Like, masks are really annoying and it's part of our culture. But right now, spend the time and connect with people in the ways that you can, whether it's through apps or whether Zoom or in person, as you feel safe. I do want to encourage everyone to get vaccines so we can get as normal as we can. Dress is different, and I bring this up. I'm coming from Arizona, and it took me a while to figure out how to dress in the winter. Who comes from hot climates? Quite a few. Did you guys prepare for winter? No. The month before I moved, it was like the summer, and I was like ordering everything on clearance for winter, not knowing. And I've even heard some international students last year say, after 6 years, I finally know how to dress in winter. That is a really long time, okay, to be really cold. So if you do not know how to dress in winter, talk to people. It is okay that you don't know, because why would you know? You shouldn't know, right? So reach out, talk to people, make friends, find out, like, how many layers do I actually need when it's -10? And that's in Fahrenheit, not Celsius. How we greet each other. So we all have masks on. I'm mostly smiling at you all. Can I tell you that? And a smile goes a long way. Outside, you'll see my smile. But sometimes I've met people who, like, I visited a friend in England, and she said, quit smiling and saying hi to people, because that is not normal here. And that was like a nice clue, because she's like, they're all gonna think there's something wrong in your head. But here it is pretty normal to be smiling, saying hello, connecting with people. And I encourage you guys to do that. Be friendly, and people will be friendly back. Schedules, some places are not very time oriented necessarily, like focused on the clock. Here, if class says it's supposed to start at 2, it will start at 2. I would say for the most part. If you show up 30 minutes late to a test, you're not going to have that extra 30 minutes to do your test. So try and be on time for things. And your professors, here, they do want to hear from you. If you're having any problems or any struggles, they really do want to know where the problem lies. If you're having trouble understanding them, if you are having trouble with the material, please talk to your professors. Don't be shy about that, because they want to see you succeed. We all want to see you succeed. So please reach out and talk and ask for whatever help you need. That's the expectation, okay? So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the second stage of culture shock. It can get severe for people, and I want you to know that. And I want you just to be aware of what that looks like. It'll look like being super homesick, like you just want to be back home. You might be tearful. You might just feel really anxious and unsafe. And that's a sign of some severe culture shock. Withdrawing from people, especially people who don't share your culture. If you just like don't want to be around these Idahoans, right? If you don't want to be around people who don't share your own culture, that can be part of it. Like you just don't want to be a part of it because it's too frustrating. You might start to feel some conflict between the values of your culture and what's locally here. It also comes down to like some symptoms like not concentrating, feeling really tired all the time, exhausted, feeling angry and irritable, and just losing your sense of humor. These are signs of severe culture shock. Feeling super negative towards the US or people who aren't sharing your culture. And it can even come down to changes in your appetite, where you might be eating more or eating a lot less. Changes in your sleep, where you might be sleeping a lot or not sleeping at all. And even just having health problems, feeling more headaches, more stomach aches, or things like that. Those are all symptoms of severe culture shock, where you should reach out and talk to someone about what's going on. That might be to the health center, where you get free services to see a doctor or a nurse practitioner or a PA. But I want you to recognize, like when this is going on, like, hey, that lady said, I might go through this, because it's pretty normal in general, but when it's that severe, I want you to reach out and get help. There are some coping strategies when this kind of comes up, and the first thing is just to recognize that this is impacting you. It will affect your studies if it gets that severe. If you're having trouble sleeping and concentrating, it's going to mess with your school. It's going to mess with your relationships. Admitting that this is impacting you is not a sign of weakness. This is a normal thing when people are thrown into a different culture. Make friends with people around you. Develop relationships. Getting to know the local people and like knowing like, why are you driving on the right side of the road? Because we're all going to get in an accident otherwise here, right? But anything that's different that you're like, I don't quite know why you say it that way or why you're doing that, like letting them give you some feedback is super helpful, where it's like, okay, it's not right or wrong, right? Like it's just people do things differently. Learning the rules of living your town, learning the customs, getting involved in some new aspect of this new culture. You might go to the Pocatello Pump. It's a rock climbing event that's coming up shortly. That's something, rock climbing is a big part of Pocatello. And so attending some of those events can be kind of fun, trying something new, or just trying something that you've done before with new people can be kind of cool. And it just kind of helps you to be a student of this new community. The biggest thing is take care of yourself. The very base of mental wellness starts with getting some sleep, eating some healthy food, drinking some water, getting some exercise. If you have those things, it's going to, you can always build from that. But if you are like so worn out that you're not eating, has anyone ever gotten hangry? Do you know that term? Get so hungry that you're angry and frustrated with everyone around you. Please take care of yourselves. We all need to take care of ourselves and take care of each other. If you notice other people are having some of those struggles, you can say, hey, I'm I noticed this and I'm worried about you. And so they are aware like, oh, this is really going on. Other coping strategies are take time to travel. Has everyone enjoyed the mountains in Pocatello? Who comes from mountains? I love the mountains. I'm from desert, flat Arizona. Do something that reminds you of home, right? If there's a hobby or music or food that you can make. I know that we can't always get foods that we're used to from back home. I used to travel to Salt Lake to go and get good Chinese food. So there's options, but talk to the people around you and they might be able to share where they can get things that, that they like. Biggest thing is be patient for yourself and ask for help. Like, know that it's not going to last. It is a stage. And as you go ahead and like reach out, you will be able to find that you'll find that normalcy that you're looking for. I do want to bring up safety because when people are frustrated in a new space, you kind of don't feel safe because it's not what you're used to. And that's a normal response. I do want to let you know, ISU is one of the safest campuses in the US. We have things like the Rave Guardian app that you can download. If you're walking across campus and you don't feel safe, it's basically like having a virtual escort, or you can call public safety and they will walk with you across campus if you need. I want to bring up cultural misunderstandings versus discrimination. I want you to know that as you come from a different culture and you meet other people, you might make mistakes for this culture and they might make mistakes according to your culture. And if we're all like in this together, we're going to teach one another. If it ever rose to the point of where you felt discrimination, I want you to talk about it. I want you to reach out and talk to student affairs or a counselor or just your friends and be able to talk it through and get things resolved. Because we strive for this to be a diverse and affirming campus. And we're really happy that you guys are here. You make us better. I think I saw Nitin like shared a lot of these resources, but on this campus, there's the Diversity Resource Center. It is over in Rendezvous. They are a great place for support. We love our colleagues here in IPO. They are always looking out for your best interest and trying to help. Office of Student Affairs has always been a good resource. They have things like if finances get to be a concern, because I know it's expensive to come to another country and study. There is like Benny's Pantry, which has, it's like a food pantry for students and staff and faculty. Anyone can go and just swipe their Bengal card and get food out of there for free. Health and wellness, the University Health Center has free doctor visits, so you can go and meet with someone over there if you're not feeling well. And if you are struggling with any of those signs of severe culture shock, that is a place you can go, as well as to the counseling center and just talk with someone about what's going on. If you live in student housing, your resident advisor is also a support that you can go to. And so I'm going to bring it back to Megan because she is leading a group specifically for international students.
Yeah, so we have a CATS Connection group and we're going to be meeting every week, every Thursday at 1 is the plan in the Diversity Resource Center. And I'll be sending Nitin and Kirby some more information on that and how you can register for that. And it's not like a therapeutic group, it's just like a support kind of social connection group. So, you know, I hope you guys can join that. And, you know, if you can't come every week, that's okay, no problem. Just, you know, come when you can. And we're hoping, so the first meeting will be on September 9th. And I'm trying to arrange to do that kind of like a potluck style out on the quad, where you can bring something from your country to share. But if you can't, like if you're super busy and, you know, you just don't have time to cook anything, and please still feel free to come. You do have to register for the group. So like I said, I'll send that information out soon. And then Yeah, and then, I guess just to end, we just want you guys all to know that, you are not alone. You have support here at ISU. Cheryl has talked about all the resources here. I've been a student here for a year. I'm in my second year. I'm going back to school after, I'm a mom of 4 kids, so I did my undergrad like 20 years ago. So I have loved ISU. I think as an intern with CATS, I've had the opportunity to reach out to a lot of these departments, and I know that all the people that work there, they want you to come and ask for help when you need help, and they want to support you and help you. So just utilize those resources. They're there for you, and they want to help you. So, and you're not alone. You have support here at ISU, and I just want to reemphasize what Cheryl said too. You make our community better. So. And do you guys have any other questions for us? Okay.
I do just want to say, because I know in some cultures, the thought of going to counseling, it might be like you have to have a mental illness. And I want to affirm to you all that a lot of it in college campuses is people transitioning, like having, just some struggles with like starting college or relationships. How many people have gone through breakups? Is it a good time to talk with people when you're going through a breakup? Probably. Or just figuring out more about who they are and identity and things like that. So it is there's lots of reasons to come for counseling. You don't have to be in crisis. We do have crisis services, but we are also just a place where you can come and have a safe and confidential space to talk. All right. I wish you guys well in your studies, and I'm glad you guys are here.
All right. Counseling and testing is awesome. I recommend you guys go and visit them when it comes time, because it's probably going to come time for a few of you. Okay, let's see here. Find my. Let's see, is this? Okay. So our last speaker couldn't make it today, and so I'm just gonna go through a few more things that I wanted to highlight for you guys before we end today. So let's see here. Yeah, let me start right here. We want you guys to be safe. Again, like Cheryl was saying, this is one of the safest campuses in the United States. But there's still some things you want to just be aware of and have some common sense about. Introduce yourself to your neighbors. So if you live off campus, make sure you know who your neighbors are. It's always good to know who they are, and also lock your doors. Okay, we've had students lose things because they didn't lock their doors, their car doors. Just make sure your belongings are kept locked up, because people do steal things. Just want to talk a little bit about policing in the US, because policing in the US may be different than what it is in your home country. The local police are friendly, and they're there to protect you. Be aware of traffic stops. So we've had students cross the street and get hit by cars in the past, not to scare you or anything, but we want you to make sure you use what's called the crosswalk. Not every country utilizes crosswalks. So at intersections, there are the 2 white lines that go across the road. Make sure you use those. But and in the US, you have what's called the right-of-way as a pedestrian. Pedestrians have the right-of-way, meaning that they get preference when they go across the street. Cars are supposed to stop for you, so in order for you to cross. But you need to be in a crosswalk. And even though you have the right-of-way, still make eye contact with the driver, okay? And make sure that they're gonna stop and slow down because sometimes they're busy or not paying attention and they're not focused on you. So do make sure, even though you have the right of way, that you make eye contact with them and you can see that they're slowing down. If you're going to drive, make sure you have a license, registration, and insurance. You have to have all three of those things. You have to have a driver's license, car registration that is registered through the county, and vehicle insurance. And you have to be carrying all three of those things in your vehicle at all times by law. If you get pulled over and you're missing any one of those things, that'll be a problem. Parking. Watch this for the street signs. You're not allowed to park in a lot of places right around campus. So if it says no parking, don't park there. And again, be careful of those crosswalks. They can be dangerous. Know the local laws. The legal drinking age in the US is 21. I know that's very different than a lot of places in the world, right? It's like, what, 18 in most places? 16? Really? Where's that? Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Austria. So legal drinking age is 21. And if you're on campus, I don't think you're allowed to have alcohol on campus. Be healthy. It's going to lead to your academic success if you're also physically healthy. So food, water, exercise, involvement. Being involved on campus is really going to help with some of this culture shock that they were talking about. So join clubs. ISU has several cultural clubs, Nepalese Student Association, the International Student Association, Korean clubs. There's all kinds of different clubs that you can be part of. Lots of sports clubs. I already talked about health insurance. It's a must. Okay. These are some of the insurance companies, but like I said, in our office, we have brochures. You can come and grab those. And it's pretty affordable, some of those companies. All right, again, here are some of the clubs. We got the African Student Association, Chinese Student Association, Japanese Club. So lots of different student cultural clubs. The International Student Association is going to probably have International Night in the spring semester. International Night is an opportunity for you to share with the Pocatello community your culture. And so, we'll often have food, we'll have dance, and, just sharing of your talents and performances and that kind of thing. So it's really fun activity. Before COVID, we would get like 600-700 people coming to that event each year. So it's going to be very different right now during this pandemic, but hopefully they'll do something again. Housing, we do recommend on-campus housing if you haven't already settled on where you're going to live. As far as off-campus housing, be very familiar with the contract that you're entering into. Before you sign a contract, make sure you read it well and you know what you're getting into. Ask about utilities. Sometimes like the power and the internet and the electricity are included in the rent. Sometimes it's not. So make sure you know that. A deposit will be expected. Make sure you clean the apartment when you vacate it. We have an off-campus booklet, but I don't think we've brought those with us today. So beware of email and phone scams. There are scams out there that target international students specifically. So don't ever just assume that a request for your money is going to be valid, or I mean, they're a little more sneaky than that, I guess. But I'm trying to think of what the specific threats were, but just be very conscious. If you receive an email or a phone call that seems suspicious, it probably is. So ask us, we can help you navigate that if something comes up. Phones. I guess Verizon offers an 18% discount to students. I don't know if that's still true, but prepaid is an easy and affordable way to go if you don't have a phone yet. I'm sure most of you have figured out your phone situation. Bank accounts. The ISU Federal Credit Union, it's now called Lookout Credit Union. You may have seen that on campus. That's one option if you need a bank to get a bank account. It's nice. I've banked there my whole adult life, so and they've been very, very good. So that's a good option if you and they work with international students quite a bit. So
Yeah, and it's here in the student union.
yeah, and they have a right in the student union they have a branch. This is transportation information. So on campus, those buses that you see, the green buses, they are free for students. They also have routes that go around town. Now, public transportation in Pocatello isn't as good as where you guys are from. It is not as often. It doesn't come around as often. It's like every hour or so, not every 10 minutes like in most places. So, but it is there, and it can take you over to the shopping district, and it's pretty cheap to ride around town on the buses. If you want more information, PocatelloTransit.com is the place to go. The presenter that was going to be here with the Diversity Resource Center, this is his slides. So Khalil, you may meet Khalil at some point. He runs the Diversity Resource Center. And this is their office hours. They're in the Rendezvous building. And that's a picture of the building right there. Great place. It's just an open place for people to come and hang out and connect with other students. So they're open Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5, Friday, 10 to 3. The Diversity Resource Center is holding what's called Diversity Week from October 25th through the October 29th. There's going to be lots of presenters, lots of activities during that time. So just watch the ISU calendar, and there will be lots of different kinds of activities. During the first 6 weeks of the fall semester, the Diversity Resource Center is also having these activities. Some of them may be on the flyers that we handed you when you came in. The Let's Dance ISU one, that's something that the International Programs Office started a long time ago, and now the Diversity Resource Center runs that. But awesome event, just a dance. It's basically just a dance party, and it's out on the quad, that grassy area, right in the middle there. And you can see the other activities, but that Let's Dance ISU, that's a fun one. All right, so any questions, comments? You guys excited to get started on your semester next week? Monday, it's coming quick. Any plans for the weekend? You guys just gonna relax, or gonna go up in the mountains and explore around or anything? Anybody planning something fun? No? Just rest? Try and relax? Okay. Again, campus tours, contact Kirby. Week of Welcome is on the ISU calendar. Kirby, can you announce what you were going to announce?
Yeah. So I just wanted to put a plug in for tonight, Convocation. This is going to be the first year we're doing what we call Convocation, I guess you could say, which is just to welcome all the new students to campus. It'll start just outside this building, kind of like as you leave this building and go out into the quad. We call that the amphitheater, where there's like steps down, with food at 6 o'clock. Then we're going to go over to Davis Field, just across the parking lot from us, for a talk from our president of the university. And then we'll take a photo, like a class photo for the class of 2025. And then it will finish with a tradition that's really special to our students here on campus. It's called March to the Arch. where our students will march through the original arch of the original building on campus. It's called Swanson Arch. You march in as a freshman, and then as you graduate, you march out. And it is a very, very like special moment, especially as you do it in your 4th year to graduate, because it signifies like coming to campus and then like leaving as an ISU graduate. So I just want to say, if you guys don't have plans for tonight, that is a really special thing to do to start your time here at ISU. So.
Cool. All right, well, if there's no more questions, thank you for coming and welcome again to ISU. For those of you on Zoom, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you guys someday.